questions about stuff like that.
Rigid.
So this broadcasts a 512 frequency, which it sounds like you already tuned into here.
512.
512, yep. And that's see the 512.
Yeah.
See the 512.
Hertz.
512 in the corner. 512. And here she's singing because she's picking it up already. So this F button right here, the F, see the F?
It's the frequency.
Yep, exactly. So when we push that, it's going to change which frequency it's listening to. So imagine that's the radio station and this is the radio. You're not going to hear, Aerosmith if you're listening to country music, right? You have to make sure you're tuned into classic rock.
Yeah.
So we need to push the F button, make sure we're on the 512 to hear what we want to hear.
Otherwise, it's going to jump around.
Otherwise, it's not going to find it. It's just not going to pick it up at all. Are you going to use this primarily for finding the camera? Is that?
Yeah,
Do you have a transmitter box?
I want to get one.
But you don't have one right now?
No.
Okay. So until you get one, and we'll come back and do a training on that too. But until you get one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all the other frequencies. So when you turn this on, it's only going to go to 512 unless you go back into the menu and physically check the boxes. So let's do that now. So I'm in the menu. I'm going to turn off the 33. I'm going to turn off the 60 hertz. And now when I hit this button, it's only going to look for 512. So unless you go deep into the menu to try to change that, when you turn it on, it's going to go right to looking for a camera. Okay? So now the best way to do this is we come up out of the basement or wherever we're at and we want to scan for where we're at.
So we're in the yard right now?
Yep, we're in the yard right now. And what we're doing is we're looking at the number in the top left corner. We want to try to find the highest number. So right here, 800, 700. As the number gets bigger and bigger, it's going to start making some noise. 13. Now it should start falling back down because we passed it. Back down to 1,000, so we find our biggest number, and then we're just going to take it down by our waist. We don't need to swing back and forth. Just need to walk. As the number gets higher, the pitch and the sound is going to get higher and higher. Now this is something you guys are going to have to get in a little close here to see, because this is the important part, the most important part. See this spot right here?
Mm-hmm.
This icon is the first target we need to hit. And we need to hit that with the crosshairs that are right here. So we need to now go hunting until we line up our spot. And we're just... Okay?
Yep.
See that? And then, now it's saying this is the direction that the pipe is facing. Those lines that just showed up, when I get it right in there, those lines, that's saying that that's the way that the camera's facing, okay? So when we get to that first X, we want to mark it with the red chip. So right here. Now we want to find a second X like that. So we're going to go past. Right there. Batteries are dying. Now, the closer we are to it, the closer the lines are all going to be to each other. The deeper it is, right here, the deeper it is, the further apart these chips are going to be. So, the best way for me to describe this to you, right, is the sonde inside of the head is shaped like a football, okay? And at each nose of the football, it shoots a sideways signal out like this. So the deeper it is, the further apart they're going to be, okay? And that signal that shoots out of the noses of the football returns to the strings of the football, and that's where the middle is. So you want to find the two noses of the football, and then the strings of the football. I know I look like I'm a village person right now doing the YMCA, but that'll help you remember it. The rigid guy came in and was an idiot like the village people. So at the noses of the football, the Y, and then the M for the strings of the football is the middle. So the two noses and the middle, and then once you get the M, you're on the camera head.
Okay.
So all three spots, and you find the camera head. I know I look like a fool doing that, but it makes you remember it.
Some people make the mistake of just finding the X and thinking
Just
that's it.
or they'll just
It's gonna
find
be
one.
2 poles.
It's 2 poles and an
There's gonna be
equator. That's
two
the
they
those
define.
are the technical terms. Yes, it's 2 poles and an equator. So if you want to think about the Earth,
Yeah.
you need to find the North Pole, the South Pole, and the equator. The yellow chip is your equator.
Yep.
So that is the best way for me to get you to remember is the football and the village people. Even though I don't know that the village people could play football.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Not well, at least.
Maybe they can play touch football. But anyway.
I always
And
had trouble with finding a signal on a drop.
that great point to bring up now.
Never hard.
The steeper the pitch, right? What's going to happen is this is going to come back here, but this is, and they're not going to be an equal distance, right?
Yeah.
The closer to level, the closer to equal they're going to be. So the more pitch, the less equal they're going to be.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's just because of the way that the frequencies are going to come out of the ground. Again, I'm looking like a fool.
And there's a depth button on that thing.
No, there is no depth
No?
button. It's always going to give you the depth,
Oh, okay.
so that you don't have to
You don't
push
have
any
to, yeah.
buttons. When you're over the equator, the number on the bottom right-hand side is going to tell you feet and inches how deep it is. So yeah, like I know a lot of my competitors and our older versions of the locator, you did have to either go like this and like that and then push the button and it would measure it and give you a depth. But there's no doing that. There's no turning anything. There's no back, forth, and make a cross. There's none of that.
You're going like this or
Yep.
something.
So the reason why these are round, right, is because these are what we would call omnidirectional antennas. So that prevents you from doing the swinging and the back and the forth. So omnidirectional, it picks it up no matter where it's coming from. Okay, so there's antennas wrapped all around these balls. And before, you know, it was a flat surface, you know, that flat paddle,
Yeah.
and that would read this way, and then you had to turn it the other way for it to pick it up. So this one encompasses all that in a circle. So that's why you don't have to swing it back and forth. And you say you wanted to look into getting a transmitter too. So what that's going to allow you to do is a couple of things. One, you can put it onto a water main, water meter, and trace it if it's copper or if it had a tracer wire. You'd be able to take this and follow the whole line. Say, here's where we're going, or when we don't want to dig right here, we want to make sure we miss it. But another fantastic thing you can do is instead of putting that on the water meter, or the water main, or a gas main, what you do is you put one end of that onto this tab right here, and now you're going to light up your cable. So now not only will you be able to find the camera head, you'll be able to trace the cable in the ground. So you'll be able to see if it was an eighth bend here, quarter bend there, which way the cable's going, as opposed to saying, yeah, we stuck the camera out and here's where the camera head is, but that's great, but where's the pipe? Right? Yeah, the pipe is right here at this spot, but where is it back here?
Right.
This is going to allow you to map, the whole thing out. So, which is a really nice feature, especially if are you guys going to do any dig ups?
And
Oh yeah, we do dig up some more fun.
you need a transmitter for that.
You do need a transmitter to do it that simply. You could pull the camera back, mark it, pull the camera back, mark it. That's the way you would be able to do it set up like this.
Yeah.
But when you add the transmitter, you'll be able to.
Does Rigid make one?
A transmitter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we make 2 red ones and 3 yellow ones. I would recommend with this equipment to get the 5-watt brick. It'll fit right in the box here. It works perfectly with doing just what we said you wanted to do. You don't need to go much more than 5 watt. You don't need to go more than 5 watts in your application. Usually somebody would get a 10-watt transmitter if they were doing more utility type stuff and they wanted to locate from this fire hydrant to the next fire hydrant. And I don't know that that's in the scope of the stuff that you guys
No.
would be doing. So if you guys are doing residential sewer service, residential water service, residential gas service, which is probably your ball game, you don't need more than 5 watts because the watts don't make it any easier to locate. It just makes the signal travel a further distance. And with a 10-watt transmitter on a solid conductor, I have put in a signal that's gone over a quarter of a mile.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, so with a 5-watt, you're going to get, you know, a few hundred feet before you start to run out, especially on a solid conductor. The more solid the conductor, the better all this stuff works. So keep in mind though that cast iron's a poor conductor. So if you put this on a cast iron sewer pipe, one, you know, the joints are either going to be rubber gaskets or lead and oakum, and that can break the signal. So you're not going to get as far of a signal on cast iron as you would by putting it on the camera or by putting it on a copper water line or a gas tracer wire. Those things you're going to be able to trace them forever with the 5-watt transmitter. The only thing you just got to keep in mind is when you try to induce a signal onto a cast iron pipe, it's not a good conductor. Cast iron is just a poor conductor. But the cable is a great conductor because it has copper wire inside of it.
Mm.
So those are that's the best advice I can give you with that. But the camera locating, yeah, it's the 3 spots and the one in the middle. The yellow chip is 6 inches behind your camera head. And when those 2 lines show up, that's telling you the direction that the camera head is facing. It's not it should be a fair representation, and you've looked at it through the camera already, so you could say yes, it was in a straight line. So yes, this is the way the camera's going. But what it is telling you is that this is the way that the camera is facing right now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what questions do you guys have? What
Recording.
recording? Great. So to record video, there's 2 options, but I'm going to tell you to use only one of them when you want to record onto the flash drive. Right.
Need a flash drive.
So you see these 3 buttons here? These are going to be how you're going to capture your media. This is going to be a still image camera, right? This is going to be your full frame video. This has a compressed video feature. I don't recommend using this because what that does is it senses when the camera's moving down the line, and when it's not moving, it slows the frame rate of the video down to take up less storage space when you're collecting media.
Yeah.
Now, it's harder to play it back, and it looks a little crappy when you play it back when you use the compressed video. When you use the standard video, it's just like you're watching it here. So I always recommend for you to use the regular video. Now, the one thing that everybody needs to be cautious of is when they're doing this type of thing, is they always say, oh, I want to just be able to email this to my customer. I want to take the video, I want to email it to my customer. Now, you've got to be cautious of how big the video gets. Most of your customers are going to have a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever email account that they use, whatever basic kind of email they have. And with that, you can only open files that are so big. And anything more than, you know, a 6 or 7 minute video, the file gets so big that a lot of times they can't open it. So you can take pictures, short videos, and email those with no problem. But other than that, you need to turn it into a link and upload it, which you can do pretty easily. If you can do it to YouTube, you can do it to Google Drive. We offer free software called Rigid Connect. All of those are options that'll create a link that you can then provide to your customer.
If you're using your phone, can you save it to your phone?
You can, but again, it's if you take a video on your phone, the bigger the video is, the harder it is for somebody to open it. So, short videos all day long. Take them, share them, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But generally, a picture is gonna speak just as loud as the video would, because you know it took you 7 minutes to get to where the problem was, right?
Yeah.
And once you see the problem, if you take the picture of all the roots hanging from the pipe, it's usually all the documentation you need. It's gonna show you how many feet out it is, the whole 9 yards. So people don't generally need to see, you know, you struggling to get it through the trap and then getting it out and starting to push it 3 feet at a time.
There's no audio in there, right?
It does. It's listening to your voice. It is, but you can shut it off,
Okay.
right? So, see the microphone button,
Yes.
icon right there? Here's the button.
So you technically
One-
could though do a like documentary like pointing
Absolutely.
Pointing out,
But you know, the last thing you want to do
out
is
there's a
"Oh,
crack
man,
here.
I can't believe you
belly.
sent me to this job. It's such a hole.
damn it,
and-
Kevin.
yeah.
Covered in
Right.
crap.
So you know, just be cautious when you're
Yeah.
recording too. Mind you, know your environment. Know your environment, and know who's gonna see this
Should
next.
watch the video before we send it. Just-
Yes.
Good
Yes. Before you send it to the user or to your boss.
Yeah.
Damn, Kevin.
So I see that you already figured out how to get the balls on there. I've had the best luck with traps with this unit than out of any of the other cameras that we offer. I have had good luck with the smaller, the one ball smaller than this.
I was gonna ask you that. Is there different sizes?
Yeah,
Okay.
it comes with 3 different sizes.
So that's good for 3 and 4 inch.
Yes, this is good for 3 and 4 inch, but the smaller one is better for negotiating the trap,
Okay.
and that's going to be the hard part of what you guys got going on.
That's tied on 3-inch though, right? In it.
This is 3 inch right here, and it should still get through a trap, but again, the deeper the trap is, the harder it's going to be to push it.
Yeah.
And you can move this up and down too.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
So generally, you know, it's going to help you get a better view of the pipe if it's closer to the middle, because if it's up at the front, you know, it's going to look down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So closer to the middle, it'll hold it more square.
Mhm.